Buenos días. Es el lunes y son las 12. Hello, everyone. It's Monday and it's 12 o'clock, so it's time for our first Community Spanish of the week. And in fact, for this week in particular, it would be the only Community Spanish because Wednesday through Friday, we have our Thanksgiving break, so there will be no live programming during this time. So while normally I would go live 3 times per week, this particular week, it's only going to be once for today on Monday. But I'll be back next on the following Monday for the regular schedule on November 30th. One other reminder before we get into our topic of today's video, and that is that we have just launched a special Black Friday coupon for our new Udemy Beginner Spanish e-course. So while the price for this course is normally about $30, we're offering a special Black Friday coupon to the public for this week, so you can get for Monday through Friday, so you can get the class for $19 instead of $30. So it's a pretty good discount. So we're hoping to get more people to kind of explore this new material that we're really excited and really proud to have produced. So if you look either on our Facebook or on our Google profile, you'll find the link to click so you can get this deal. So please feel free to check it out. And you can also buy it as a gift for someone if you're looking for a holiday gift, maybe someone who you know who always wanted to learn Spanish but has not been able to start that yet. You can help them kind of get going on their Spanish journey as a holiday gift. So all that being said, let's get into our topic for today and our continuation of the Repaso or review series. So as I've been doing it with all these videos, essentially we're going back to review some of the things that we've learned over these past few months as we've been going live here. And if you are actually brand new to the topic, while you're welcome to watch the video if you'd like, I would recommend if you can go to our website, to rolalanguages.com, to our Facebook Live page, and you can actually check out the link to the original video where I teach the topic for the first time if you feel like you're not really ready for the review part yet. You can always go back and look at the original video, and especially with many of the videos, I've made some original worksheets. So if you want to kind of get a little practice first before you come back to this review video, you're totally welcome to do that. So those resources are there for you to use and there for you to share with anyone who might want to. Might be interested in the material as well. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead with today's video. And again, under the assumption you have some knowledge of this topic, so you'd like to go and do the review and get the extra practice with us on this. So the topic of our video for today is going to be continuing. We started a series on gustar and verbs that are similar to gustar. And this is definitely a tricky topic for many Spanish learners because it's really an exercise in your brain to essentially flip what you're used to doing in English, assuming you're a native English speaker, which most of our students are. So I'm kind of coming at the lesson from that perspective. And so we did a practice exercise with gustar, but now we've started to branch off and work with other verbs that are very similar to gustar that work in the same way, so we can use them to help reinforce our knowledge and our understanding of how this structure works. So let's get into it. So today we're going to be practicing with the verb interesar, which again is a kind of we call them like a friend of gustar, as in they're verbs in the same group that work in the same way. And so with these, essentially, as I was mentioning before, is we have to kind of flip our mind of how we usually think about these things. But usually when in English, for example, you would say like, I like this thing, but in Spanish, what we're actually saying is like, this thing pleases me. So this is how we're going to be phrasing it. And so we have to, again, train our brain to do the opposite of what we've been usually doing as we learn verbs in Spanish. And so we're going to be practicing with interesar because again, the thing interests us. So we as the person are not the active participant in this sentence. So let's get into our practice. And as always, I would like you to jump in as much as you'd like to. So escribe tus respuestas en los comentarios abajo. So please feel free to, as you go along in the exercise, to enter your own answers in the comments below, whether you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube. So you're welcome to join us as we go through this activity, and I'm going to walk you through the sentences. Okay, so starting with and here we have on the box, we have all the elements we will need to put these sentences together. So we're going with número uno. Okay, número uno, we have Argentinian food doesn't interest you. Okay, so we're starting off with a negative. So again, we have to think about it in the kind of the opposite way. So we're saying like to you doesn't interest Argentinian food. So you're kind of taking the English and going backwards in a sense. So for número uno, again, because we're having a negative here, we always start with a negative when we have no. So we're starting with no. Okay, and then we're saying it doesn't happen to you. So the first element after no is going to be te. Okay, and the things in the box here are in the order that we need to use them. So I'm just following along with the columns. So we have starting with no te, and then we have to choose between. Well, I guess in this particular exercise we have all singular things. So these are all going to be interesa. But as we've been in general, what we are choosing between when we do sentences like this is we're choosing between a singular form and a plural form. So it would be interesa or interesan. And those are the two options. When we learn a new verb, we're used to learning like, well, yo and tú and el, ella, usted. But with these sentences, again, it's not like our typical thing. So in these ones, we're only choosing between those two options: singular, like interesa, or plural, like interesan. Now, in this particular exercise, all of our options here are singular, so there's even less of a choice for us to make here. But just to kind of review that as a concept with you. So we're going to choose interesa. So we have no te interesa, and then we need Argentinian food, which, as we see from our vocab section, is la comida argentina. La comida argentina. And you'll take note here that with the nationalities, we do not capitalize the country like we would in English. So all these things are correct when we see all the lowercase first letters. So no te interesa la comida argentina. Muy bien. Número 2. Mexican art interests us. Okay, so again, we're thinking about this backwards. So we would have to put the us part first, then interest, then Mexican art. So we're saying us, we're going to use the pronoun nos, right? Nos, and then our verb interesa. Again, this one we can just kind of blow through the verb very easily because we know for all of these it's all going to be the same. So we don't have to think about it in this particular case. So no, nos interesa, and then we need the vocab of Mexican art, which is based on what we see in the box, el arte mexicano. El arte mexicano. So nos interesa el arte mexicano. And as I always recommend, as we do these exercises, not only to write out your answers, but as we kind of put the right answer up on the screen, please remember to say it out loud, because by pronouncing it out loud, then you're going to not only help work on your pronunciation, but you're also going to help your brain to internalize the information the more you repeat it. Okay, número 3. Spanish history doesn't interest you all, and this is the you all in Spain. So as we know from what we've mentioned in many, many videos, the you all in Spain is the vosotros. It's very specific. So in this case, the pronoun that represents the vosotros is os, which we can see towards the bottom of the box. But again, this one is a negative, so we have to make sure to put the no in front of os. So no os, and then interesa, our universal verb for this exercise. So no os interesa, and then we need Spanish history. So we can see from the box, it's la historia. Make sure you don't pronounce that H, not la historia, but la historia. La historia. Perdona, sorry, small technical difficulty. So we are saying no os interesa la historia española. No os interesa la historia española. Ok, muy bien. No os interesa la historia española. Historia. Ok, perdona. Ok, número 4. We have Colombian film interests the students. Colombian film interests the students. Okay, so again, starting with the part that refers to the students. So this one is like the students is going to be represented by les. Okay, les. So because it's a ellos, again, to the students. So that's why we think about this one. Well, we don't have the word the students specifically in here. We're going to use les to represent ellos. So les interesa. And then from the vocab, el cine colombiano. So no, les interesa, not negative, no, it's les interesa el cine colombiano. Excelente. Okay, on to número 5, halfway through. Argentinian food interests you all. So the you all, as we practice in number 3, that the you all, which is specific to Spain, is for vosotros. But the you all we use in all of the other countries outside of Spain is ustedes, which fits into the same category as ellos and ellas. So we're going to use the same pronoun of les again, because les again represents a ellos or a ellas or a ustedes. So we're going to use les again for número 5. Les interesa. And then we have Argentinian food again. So we have la comida argentina. Les interesa la comida argentina. Okay, número 6. I'm going to scooch down the page a little bit so we can see the next part. Okay, Peruvian fashion doesn't interest her. Okay, Peruvian fashion doesn't interest her. So this is a negative. So we have to again start with no. So no, and then interest her. So we think about which pronoun is going to represent her. If we look at our options, we're going to be choosing le, right? Le represents a él, a ella, or a usted. So we should use le to represent her. So no le interesa. And then we have Peruvian fashion, which is for some reason this one in this exercise, so you may want to go up and check the box. You can see is la moda peruana. La moda peruana. Okay, la moda peruana. So altogether we get no le interesa la moda peruana. No le interesa la moda peruana. Super. Okay, número 7. Colombian film interests me. Okay, so this one is now for me. So we're going to use the word me to represent a mí. So me interesa. Again, our verb we're using for all of these. Me interesa. And then we had from the vocab, the Colombian film was el cine colombiano. Me interesa el cine colombiano. Excelente. Okay, número 8, moving right along. Peruvian fashion interests them. So with the them, that's going to be represented by, it is going to be for the a ellos, right? For them, a ellos or a ellas. And so the word we're going to use, the pronoun we're going to use to replace a ellos or a ellas is les, right? Les represents a ellos, a ellas, or a ustedes. So we're going to use les to represent them in this one. So les, and then again with our universal verb, interesa. And we have then Peruvian fashion, which we used very recently, which was la moda peruana. Les interesa la moda peruana. Les interesa la moda peruana. Making sure that again, the interesa refers to the fashion, not to the people, right? So we're not, the ustedes part is only represented in the les element, not in the interesa part. All right, dos más, 2 more to go. Número 9, Mexican art doesn't interest you. Okay, so it's another negative. So we're starting with no, and then interest you. So the word for to you can see from our little helpful table here is going to be te, again, assuming we're speaking to someone with tú. If we're using usted, then we would use le. But again, usually in these exercises, it's indicated formal if you need to use usted, and there's no formal here. So we're going to go ahead with te. So no te interesa. And then we have Mexican art. So we're going to use the vocab el arte mexicano. So no te interesa el arte mexicano. Okay, now on to our last one in this exercise, número 10. Chilean politics don't interest us. And here we have a key note that we need to keep in mind about the vocab here, which we see just underneath the chart here, that in Spanish, when we talk about politics, it actually is kind of treated as one group. And so we're going to call it la política. So this is important because when we say politics in English, it's plural. So it means everything that goes after that has to also be plural. But in Spanish, because it's política and it's singular, we need to keep that in mind because the verb has to agree with that. So we're not going to say la política chilena interesan, because again, it's la política singular. So we should use interesa. So this is a key little difference in the vocab between English and Spanish. So we need to keep that in mind as we translate that in Spanish, we need to treat politics as being singular. Okay, so we have for número 10. So doesn't interest us. So we're talking about nosotros, which is going to be represented by nos. Oh, but then we also have a negative, so we have to remember to put that at the very, very front. So no nos, okay, and then our verb interesa, no nos interesa, and then we have Chilean politics. But again, as we just saw, we're going to have this be a singular thing in Spanish. So it's no nos interesa la política chilena. No nos interesa la política chilena. So again, if we were treating something that was actually plural in Spanish, then we would choose the verb interesan. But because we're treating like politics, the sphere of politics, we're going to treat it as just one thing. So it should be singular with no nos interesa la política chilena. Okay, that's the last one in our exercise for today. But again, as I said, I made several videos about this topic. So some of them in original videos, some of them review topics. Like last exercise, we used the verb preocupar to practice with this, which also works in the same way. And in fact, I have one or two other verbs that I'm going to be using as we continue to practice this concept. I think it's something that we really need to reinforce a lot because it's something that most students need a lot of training in their brain to kind of get them in the pattern of how you should form these sentences. So I want to do a lot of review on this particular topic. So we're going to continue the next video on next Monday, because as I said, just a reminder that there is no community Spanish this Wednesday and Friday during the Thanksgiving break. We will continue more with these kind of review exercises for verbs that are like gustar. But in the meantime, if you want to check out the original videos or some of the other review videos we've made on this topic or on other topics, you're welcome to check out the Facebook Live page of our website on RolaLanguages.com and explore and see what helps you the most. And again, if you'd like to share these resources with anyone else, you're totally welcome to do that because these are free community programs. So we want to share them with as many people as possible. Okay, well, with that, have a great Thanksgiving. Gracias y adiós.